Hi, welcome to our series on science in the Bible. First, a note to the parents. Many of you have lots of training in science. Well, so did many of the leaders in the church from Moses to Daniel. In fact, they had tremendous training in science. Moses had contact with Mycenae, which were the most powerful Greek state until Alexander the Great. But the first experiment we're going to do is actually an epic failure for Moses. To the children, we're going to be doing a number of experiments that have to do with water. Water is the most important thing. Without water, you have no life. And Moses brought the people out of Egypt from the Nile, where they had all the water they needed, into the middle of the desert. And those people wondered, why? Why are we going away from this water? And are you taking us out into the desert to die? Well, no. One thing that Moses knew is that underneath that great desert is a vast amount of water. There is, today, most of the food that we get is watered from water that is deep underground. Well, in the Sinai where they went, they had huge amounts of water. They couldn't see it. They had to have faith that it was there, and God was leading them in that direction. Well, we will be doing a number of experiments and to show some of the miracles that Moses performed for people. Well, this first one is where Moses actually disobeyed God and got in trouble. And is probably the biggest trouble he ever got into. Well, what do we need for this experiment? We need two kinds of balloons. We need these 16-inch balloons that you can get at the store, and they're for like punching bags. So if you get tired of the balloons, you got a punching bag that you can make. Also, and so these are 16-inch, and this other kind of balloon is a 9-inch balloon. In addition to that, you will need a little ballpoint pen, and you will need a straight pen like this. Okay, one thing I forgot, you'll also need a drinking straw. All right, so what you do is you take the big balloon, the one that we use for the punching bag, and you put the straw in it. You take another balloon, and we'll take the blue balloon. This is the 9-inch balloon. You take the straight pen, and you poke a hole in it in the sides. And you can poke a couple of holes in there if you want to. All right, this is the outside of this balloon, which we have to roll up and make very thin. The reason we have to do that is we want to put that inside the blue balloon that has a hole in it. Now, so we have one balloon inside another. Okay, now this is what this is doing is this is modeling what the underground looks like in the Middle East. They've got a lot of water, but it's in pockets. Okay, so the next thing we do is we'll take this balloon and we'll put this inside the bigger balloon. And then the next time you see us, we will be ready to do the experiment. Okay, the story today is from the book of Numbers, chapter 20. And parents, you can look this up and read it with your children. Moses and his people had just gone into the land of Zin near the city of Kadesh. And you can look that up on a map. And that is an area that has water. But when they went there, they couldn't find any. And the people were afraid. And they came to Moses and said, "Have you led us into this area to die?" Well, Moses went to God. What God told him to do was to go to a rock, bring his staff, and then speak to the rock. And the rock would give forth water. There's lots of water in this area, but it's underground and it's hidden. Well, Moses went in front of the people, just as God told him to do. But instead of speaking to the rock and allowing God to conduct a miracle, what Moses did was different. See if you can spot the difference. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken all 3 balloons and put those onto the nozzle of the faucet. And I'm going to turn the faucet on slowly. This is to show, this is like the water pressure that's underneath in that area in Kadesh. The Kadesh area would have lots of water underground that you cannot see. And it's going to get more and more pressure, just like it would there. Now, God had told Moses to speak to the rock. Now, this white balloon is our rock. We're going to pretend like that's the rock. The balloons underneath are the part that you cannot see that's holding the water. And see, there's no water coming out here. All right, so Moses was told to speak to the rock and God would perform a miracle. Well, Moses didn't speak to the rock. Moses knew the science and he wanted to do it himself. And so what Moses did was he struck the rock. And notice what happened here is all of that happened, all that went through like that. Well, let's see what happens. Well, okay, so water comes out of the rock. But do you think that made God happy? No. God was not happy with Moses. And in fact, it is at that time, even though the water came out, just like that, people were happy because they got water. But Moses did not allow God to perform a miracle. God may have needed to use an earthquake or something like that to break through the materials below. But because of that, Moses was not able or not allowed to go into the promised land. So it's important to understand science, and it's important to use science, but don't mistake science. It's not magic. It's not something to tell the people that you know something that they don't know. Allow God to work His miracle.